Adrian, the Half-Breed, by Shades Chapter 1. A crazy encounter, and on the number 1 the man leading them all and hasn't been taken over by anyone else, our number 1 bachelor, Mr. Adrian Cortez. That was the sound of the television. What's so great about watching them list the most handsome and wealthiest bachelors when they won't match them with worthy bachelorettes? Nicole said as she unplugged the rice cooker. Hey, do you have any idea how it warms me up? Whenever I watch this in a bad mood, they cute handsome faces just brighten up my mood. Chloe, her younger sister, said with a dreamy smile. It's just a waste of time and boring since he's always the number 1. Nicole blurted out, making Chloe glare at her. Boring? You call Adrian been number 1 all the time boring? Ah well, I don't blame you, you barely have eyes for good-looking men. Hey! Nicole yelled, throwing the ladle in her hand at Chloe, who dodged, and they both giggled. After their breakfast, they both left for work. Chloe is a social worker whilst Nicole works for a magazine company as a typist. It's a really hectic job on her behalf since she sometimes have to stay back and work. Most of her colleagues will double up her work by asking her to do theirs as well. Good morning, she greeted the moment she entered the office. Ms. Nicolina Matus. Come to my office right now. Her boss called her name out loud and her heart slipped a beat. Being called with your full name means there is trouble. She shivered as she walked to the boss' office. Good day, sir, she greeted, but he frowned at her. You are 20 minutes late again. What do you take this job for? You can just come to work at any time you want and leave as you please? I'm deeply sorry, sir, but I got caught in enough with your flimsy excuses. You're fired. The words "you're fired" echoed in her head for 3 times as she turned to her boss with tears welled up in her eyes. But please give me another chance, please sir, kindly give me one more chance, she pleaded with her boss, but he didn't even bother to pay any attention to her. If only you would have done what I asked of you 3 months ago, you wouldn't be in this situation right now. Now leave my office, he ordered her out. Nicole sniffed as she wiped her tears with the back of her palm and headed out for her desk. She tried her best to hold back her tears, but she wasn't good at that as her tears betrayed her. This was the first company that accepted her, and she's been working in this company for the past 5 years. I overheard the boss firing you, Nicole. I'm so sorry about that, one of her colleagues said to her, and she nodded. They came around and said sorry, but Nicole knew they only felt sympathy for her because she wouldn't be around to do their job for them and they would have no one running errands for them. She knew that they just pitied her and weren't sincere. She packed all her stuffs into her white box and headed out the door without looking back. She was about to cross the road when a black sports car nearly ran over her. She didn't even have the strength to glare at the driver as she just picked up her box and ran off before the driver got out of his car. Adrian's office. So how was your night? Adrian asked Jeffrey, his childhood friend. You should have seen me, man. I was more than a horse on the battlefield. She screamed. Harder, baby, harder. Yeah, baby, that's it, give it to me harder. And I gave it to her so hard and so good she was out of breath. That girl is a beast, Jeffrey replied. Who was it this time? She's one of the girls with the Lynn ending he name. Franklin, Joyce Lynn, Dylan? Narh, none of them, Jeffrey said, throwing his legs in the arm of the sofa. Then who was it this time around? Adrian was getting impatient and curious. It was actually Zoe. Zoe? You men like Zoe? Adrian asked with surprise. Yeah, dude. They hottie Zoe. You were just messing with my head when you said the Lynn, right? Of course yes. How did you get her, man? You know, my vibe and swag and looks and cash. It was way easier than I thought. But everyone says she's really plays hard to get with most of the guys. She's got ministers' ad sins of the president and ministers at her fingertip. You are one devil, aren't you? You know, man. I guess she couldn't resist the number 2 bachelor on the most handsome and wealthiest bachelors list and a good friend of Adrian. You sure rub your charms on me, Jeffrey said enthusiastically and sipped his wine as he sat straight. Wanna go clubbing this weekend? Adrian suggested. Sure thing, bro. I'm all in UMMM. How are things going with your target? You mean Catalina? Yeah, her. How are things going with her? It's not easy, bro. She's really playing hard to get, and that's what I like in a woman. Her fierceness and her looks, damn, she's hot. So are you gonna get serious with her? I'm too young to get married. I wanna have some more fun. You are one bad boy. That's because you keep rubbing your bad boy self on me. You know the flow, bro. Jeffrey said as they clinked their glasses and gulped down the wine. Adrian's POV: Jeffrey and I have been friends for like forever, and we still are. He's the only friend I have since childhood, the rest just got closer when the money started flowing. We both lived at the seaside and attended the same school. It was really hard at the beginning, but when we decided to build together and never give up on our dreams because we thought it was impossible with where we came from, but then, together as a team, we made it, and we are the top wealthiest bachelors in the country and outside. I can barely recall how my mama looks like because she died when I was 5. She went out with my grandfather for sailing, and the waves was so hard and strong, she fell into the sea, and that was it. I never got to see her again. I don't know who my father is, and I don't want to know. My grandfather was the one who brought me up, but that old buddy of mine isn't willing to move and join me in the city. He always says he prefers living closer to the sea, that way he feels my mom is still with him. But since his body wasn't found, I have a feeling that she is alive somewhere, even though everyone who hears me says I'm nuts. I've got to get going. My foreign investors are in, Jeffrey said as he stood up and adjusted his necktie. Okay. Take care, man. You too. All the best in getting your Catalina, he said teasingly, and we hugged before he left. I paced back and forth in my office, lost in my thoughts. I've been having this weird scars on my neck as if someone cut me with a knife. Whenever I try to take my bath, the left side of my neck feels like it's tearing apart, but when I brush my hand there I see no blood, but the pain is unbearable, and then I feel my skin stitch up by itself. I consulted my personal doctor, but he claimed not to see a scar on both sides of my neck. It all started when I was 10 and I suddenly became so good at swimming that I can stay underwater for 30 minutes. Now, there are 2 scars, one in the left side and the other on the right side of my neck. When I try to show it to others, they tell me that there's nothing there but my neck, so I just keep it to myself instead. I heard a knock on my office door. It was my secretary. Here are all the files for the clothing line. All their suggestions and ideas are in the files. Also, the project on the new snacks to be added to Ace Foods 2 is in this file. She explained, and I nodded. Thanks, Ms. Jerkins. No need to thank me, sir. I'm just doing my job. I hope I get a qualified replacement when I leave. It's sad that you'll be leaving. I don't know if I'll get someone with such devoted and with perfect enthusiasm like you. You need not worry, sir. You're a good man and you will definitely get one. I'll take my leave now. Okay, sure. Take care. It's sad how she'll be leaving so soon. I've worked with Ms. Jerkins for the past 5 years and she's been of great help. She's like an advisor to me, even though I'm 2 years older than her. I go with her on my business trip and even take some ideas from her. Rumors had it that we were having an affair and all sorts of nonsense. Some people sure don't have anything to do in life than sit down and make up rumors. She's moving out of the country with her parents, and it just hurts to know she wouldn't be going to a country that has one of my companies. I wouldn't have placed her in charge, you know. Finding a new employee is going to be hectic. Most of them will just apply with no qualifications, with the sole purpose of seeing my face and squeaking all over the place with their little tiny voices. I went through the files and took notes. It's been a rough day. You won't believe how bad my day started. On my way to the office I nearly ran over a young lady in glasses who had really bad hair. I don't know if she has a problem keeping them neat. Her fashion taste was horrible. I just want to puke when I think of what she wore. There is a saying about not judging a book by its cover, but how can a lady have such horrible fashion sense? I've got to order them to put the vacancy online for a new worker. I just hope I don't get a lot of hopeless people without the qualifications flooding this building. I stood up from my desk and packed everything up. I was done for the day and I needed some good rest. Or should I have it announced on the news that I'm looking for the lady I nearly ran over with my car? She might have crazy ideas about suing me, you know. She didn't look that normal because she just stood up and ran off with the box in her hand. What if she memorized my plate number and intentionally get herself wounded just to get some money off me? I said to myself, and wait, it wouldn't be such a bad idea. I took my coat off the hanger and wore it as I took my briefcase from the desk and headed south of my office. I waved at my workers and asked them to close early for the day because there was actually less work to do. I walked towards my car and was about to open the driver's side of the door when someone walked over to me like she appeared out of nowhere. "Arrhh. You scared me," I said, cowering in fear. "It was you, the crazy careless man who nearly ran over me with his car." She yelled at me. "Huh? It was the girl I nearly ran over with my car. But what is she doing here after running off? How did she find me? Did she go about checking black cars and their number plates? Miss, don't miss me. You were the one. Plate number 3659 ACE. I'm right, aren't I? Look, I'm really sorry for what happened this morning. Besides, you were the one who ran off before I could even apologize. So are you trying to say I should have stayed for you to rub your fanciness in my face? And that you own a posh? Or that you have a job? Can you please calm down?" I asked and tried to help her stand straight when a very strong alcoholic scent hit my nose really hard. "She's drunk. Don't you ask me to calm down, you jerk. I just lost my job and the moment I ran out of that stupid building you tried to kill me. Go ahead and kill me," she said sluggishly as she went to stand in front of the car. She is really drawing attention of the others now. This lady is so unbelievable. How can she call me a jerk and make such a scene? I walked up to her trying to pull her out of my way when she held onto my shoulders and looked up at me. Her cheeks were flushed and her hair was falling in her face that I could barely see her face well. I tried pulling my head back as she awfully reeks of alcohol. She bulged her eyes and her entire body moved forward. Before I knew it, she had vomited all over my shirt. Gross. I reek of sweat, puke and alcohol now. She wiped her lips against the sleeves of my coat and even had the guts to smile at me. This world is so unfair. I'm now jobless just because I wasn't willing to give him what he wanted. I wish I just died. She blurted out with her eyes closed, and the next thing I knew it, her head was against my chest and she has dozed off. She's literally got her head in her puke on my shirt. Gross. Can't this day get any worse? TBC. So, how